This is the herringbone stitch used in hand embroidery. It creates a zigzag band of overlapping strands. This is the
Hi there, welcome to my channel again. We did a bit last night because well, when I'm doing embroidery, I'm pretty much addicted to it. So then I can just, I can just keep continuing to play with thread. So there was a stream planned for tonight, and actually it was about, well, it was planned for 21:30, but I decided to do it a little bit earlier because I'm tired. Oh, well, I'm not really tired, but I'm getting tired, and I want to make sure that I'm not that tired when I stop. So I decided to start 1 hour before time. So let's get started because today I'm doing the herringbone stitch and the chevron stitch. And will try to explain it to you. I'm not doing that on my own. I'm using two references for all those stitches we're going to work with because for me it's a journey because I never did those stitches as well. I did 26 years cross stitching, so I thought it was time to do something else. So tonight we're going to start with the herringbone stitch, the chevron stitch, and if we have time and I'm not too tired, we're doing the double herringbone stitch if possible, but I do think we're just going to keep it with the chevron and the herringbone stitch. I'm not going to explain it by myself. I'm using two references, as I said. I'm using the website needleandthreads.com, which is it's from Mary Corbett, and she's like a well, she's like a fairy um with needle and thread. So that's why I'm using that as a reference. Well, her website is some kind of an encyclopedia of stitches. So I'm using her YouTube videos to show you how things are done, because like I said, I'm not I really don't know any of those stitches. So for me it's a new journey as well, as it will be for you. We're going to work on the satchel, which my mom made when she was like a teen. So we're going to embroider it, we're going to line it, and we're all going to do it by hand. So well, first now we're going to see how Mary Corbett is explaining the herringbone stitch, and from there we're going to work with the stitches. I have plenty of time tonight, I don't have to rush it. If you're in the chat and you see I'm not responding, just give me a break, because I probably will be focused on the new stitches I have to work with. So well, have fun. I hope you will be learning something out of it, as I will. And we're going to see which will be the end result of tonight, with the herringbone stitch and the chevron stitch, and maybe the double herringbone stitch. So have fun. And now we're going to watch the live explanation, the explanation from YouTube from Mary Corbett herself. So watch it with me.
This is the herringbone stitch used in hand embroidery. It creates a zigzag band of overlapping straight stitches. And to work the herringbone stitch, I'm going to be working between two parallel lines from left to right. And I'm starting on the base line over on the left. I'm going to take a diagonal stitch up to the top line and a small back stitch in the fabric. So I'm just picking up a little bit of fabric there to make a little back stitch. Then I'm crossing over that stitch and down to the baseline again. And I'm going to keep the working thread above my needle so it doesn't catch on the stitch, and take a small back stitch and pull through. And now I'll cross over that stitch as I head back up to the top line and pick up a small back stitch of fabric, pull through, and now cross over the stitch down to the baseline again. And when you're working on that baseline, make sure that your working thread is above your needle. And then cross over the stitch back up to the top line. You can also stab the stitch by taking the needle all the way to the back and bringing it all the way to the front again. And when you stab the stitch, you can work from left to right or right to left. It doesn't make a difference. So the needle comes to the front, a little ways back, crosses over, back up to the top line, then back to the front again, and down to the baseline. And again, you can sew it by just scooping up a bit of the fabric, which actually goes faster than stabbing the stitch. So that's the herringbone stitch. For more tips and techniques on hand embroidery, stop by and visit me at Needle and Thread.
So, what she says is we have to draw a line. And I'm now going to my other screen. Just a minute. Just going to transition you in to the new scene. Like, I have to adjust my camera. Oh, there goes the light. I have to switch my cable, so bear with me for a sec. There are always things happening in life. But sometimes I wonder when it's going to end. Anyhow, anyway, where's that cable going? Like, this is the old cable. There it goes. First I have to see whether this is fitting or not. So I'm almost back again. Oh, there I am. Of course, the microphone was still on. Anyhow, anyway, welcome if you're just joined the chat. Thank you for watching this. I was just having a problem with my my cable, one of my cables. But for some reason I already bought a new one, which is not that odd. If you know what happened with the cable, that wasn't pretty. Anyway, we're going to draw a line first. I'm just going to put my webcam off so you can see my just yeah, so you can see my hands, not have to look at my face. Okay, here we are, the faceless stream. We're now going to draw a line with my graphite pencil to the other side, and we have to draw a fair amount of space in between so we can make a decent herringbone stitch. And if I think I haven't practiced enough, I will just go and try it on the other side of the satchel because there's enough room. So now we have drawn a line, like she said. So by the way, this ruler I have since I was 6, so it's pretty old already. It's about 39 years old this year, or next year. As I actually forgot how to start, I'm just going to rip out 2 strands of DMC thread, and I'm going to get my needle out of my pin cushion. If you want to embroider along with me, you can find the supplies on the info page of this Twitch channel. So stay with me. There we go. We're going to go back to the explanation of Mary Corbin.
This is the herringbone stitch used in hand embroidery. It creates a zigzag band of overlapping straight stitches. And to work the herringbone stitch, I'm going to be working between 2 parallel lines from left to right. And I'm starting on the base line over on the left. I'm going to take a diagonal stitch up to the top line and a small back stitch in the fabric. So I'm just picking up a little bit of fabric there to make a little back stitch. Then I'm crossing over that stitch and down to the baseline again. And I'm going to keep the working thread above my needle so it doesn't catch on the stitch, and take a small back stitch and pull through. And now I'll cross over that stitch as I head back up to the top line. and pick up a small back stitch of fabric, pull through, and now cross over the stitch down to the baseline again. And when you're working on that baseline, make sure that your working thread is above your needle. And then cross over the stitch back up to the top line. You can also stab the stitch by taking the needle all the way to the back and bringing it all the way to the front again. And when you stab the stitch, you can work from left to right or right to left. It doesn't make a difference. So the needle comes to the front, a little ways back, crosses over, back up to the top line, then back to the front again, and down to the baseline. And again, you can sew it by just scooping up a bit of the fabric, which actually goes faster than stabbing the stitch. So that's the herringbone stitch. For more tips and techniques on hand embroidery, stop by and visit me at Needle and Thread.
Thank you, Mary Corbett, for your explanation. Well, in the meanwhile, you were watching in this little video, I was embroider along. So I actually do stuff, which is really awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here 3, and I have to go 1, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one is actually pretty simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. No, that one's not correct. I did 2. It feels like it's a very simple stitch, and it's very weird to do a stitch something different than I'm used to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 2 apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this one is very, very simple. It's far from complex, but it looks very neat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm not sure whether I like the stitch actually. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and then 2. Maybe if I do the double, it's really pretty though. What do you think about this stitch? The herringbone stitch. At one point I really like it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 5, 6. Actually, I was pretty worried about tonight because I was like, oh no, I'm going to learn a new stitch. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But now I'm like, well, this is really easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's really pretty on camera. It's actually pretty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm not sure whether it contains its beauty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I wash the whole stripe off, I'm not sure whether it will be having its strength. I'm not sure. What do you think? Help me with your thoughts. So I do think after we have done the chiffon underneath, I'm going to pick the I'm going to have a break for a while, and then I'm going to get the video for the double herringbone stitch, and I do think we're going to do that one either tonight, because it's very interesting what this stitch does with my mind. At one hand, I'm just like, well, this is really plain, and I'm not sure whether this really does something with me. But on the other hand, I'm very mesmerized by it, because it's strong and it's royal and it's really something. But maybe I'm just thinking a bit too much about that kind of stuff. So I'm now going to close the stitch first before going any further, because otherwise it will be run out of them. Yeah. This will eventually all disappear in the end, but for now I just want to keep it as clean as possible. As you might understand. So there goes my needle. Back again. So we're now going to finish up this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I now wonder why I never did this in the other 26 years, because it's really stunning. It's really nice. I'm amazed. But it's more it's more beautiful on the screen than I think it is on now on the fabric. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But like I said, we're in no rush tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So on the back, I will show you how this looks like. But first I'm now going to close this strap. Yeah, it looks really, really good. I'm really, really proud of myself. This is really fun to do. I really can imagine myself using this on a on something which I need to make more beautiful, and something to use very simple stitch but very impressive and very royal and very well, something you like to show on another level. It's really, really nice. But I do think I have to watch my stitches because I really have to get it all even. Because that's what I like, even stitches. So just see what's going on here. It does take a lot of thread. I need enough to get it through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the old days, when I was watching the videos of Mary Corbett, I was always like, oh no, that's way too difficult. I never can do that. 3, 4, 5, 6. But it seems like it's very easy. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. It's something. It's a really nice stitch to embroider on a cushion or something like that. Just something which really needs some crochet, something extra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, see? This is what's happening when you're using a stitch you don't know and you think it's very regal. The chevron stitch will be more regal as this one because it has a cap. So if there will be a cap coming underneath, this is really nice. This is really, really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3. Where is my camera? There's my camera. I didn't have that much trouble with my camera this afternoon, but we're just getting started. Hello? Hi there. Hello. By the way, guys, thank you for following me. It's really, really nice to feel the love of the community. Everyone's very welcome, and that's just my hand. That's not what I want to see. Well, I want to see my hands, but not. We're getting there. Been there, done that. No, we're not going to. We just have to start over. That's weird. My camera's a bit off its guard today. And it seems like it's not well placed in its thingy. But I don't have any rush. All the time. I don't have to do anything. Besides, embroider my butt off, which I don't mind. Yep, there we are again. We're now going to position the camera back to where it belongs. And of course, I forgot to. I really have to make a checklist, guys. Remind me of that. Mic plugged in. That's good. Because it's always off the battery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there we go. I really need a bigger desk. Well, bigger. More spacious. Okay, let's make a little knot and cut the whole person off. There we go. Trash pile. And there we have to put this somewhere. Oh, it's all. So, as you see on the back, and you know from earlier streams, I love to have nice backs. It has to be very clean. It has to be clean as possible. So now we're going to get rid of those threads. And on the other side, I'm going to get, oh, there it goes by itself. So here we have a row of herringbone stitch. Isn't it nice? It's so nice. It's so pretty. I'm really happy with it. So we're going to continue with the chevron stitch, and with the chevron stitch I know I also have to work this in a in between lines. So I'm going to work in between this line and that line to make sure I can practice as much as I want to. So I'm going to use my graphite pencil again, and I'm going to draw a line. And of course you can make alternative stitches with the stitches made, but because today is just a learning curve on how to get the chevron stitch and the herringbone stitch, we're just going to practice the normal stitches, or the actual stitches. And when I really like a stitch like the herringbone double, we're going to do that on the back. because that's how I roll. If I like something, I just do it on the back. Because we have enough space anyway. We have about 60 centimeters of space to practice the double chevron. I'm going to use a blue now because I'm a blue girl. It's not a royal blue, but it's a blue. Like I said and told before, this thread is 56 years old. As my mom never used it again, I'm going to finish it before it's really old and not usable. So that's why I'm using the thread, and because we're reconstructing a bit her satchel. Well, I'm making my own satchel, of course, but I'm doing it to honor my mom and what she did for me. But now we're going to check on the other stitch, the chevron stitch, and we're going to go to
This is the herringbone stitch used in hand embroidery. It creates a zigzag band of overlapping straight stitches. And to work the herringbone stitch, I'm going to be working between two parallel lines from left to right. And I'm starting on the base line over on the left. I'm going to take a diagonal stitch up to the top line and a small back stitch in the fabric. So I'm just picking up a little bit of fabric there to make a little back stitch. Then I'm crossing over that stitch and down to the base line again. And I'm going...
Sorry. We're going to the chevron stitch.
The chevron stitch in hand embroidery creates a kind of zigzag line with little caps at the tip of each zigzag. So to create the chevron stitch, I'm working between two parallel lines from left to right, and I'm going to create the zigzag between those two lines. So I'm starting on the base line, and I'm taking a full stitch length forward and coming back halfway and bringing the needle through the fabric, and you can see that the working thread was below the needle, and that creates the first cap. Now I'm taking a diagonal stitch up to the top line, and I'm taking up enough of the fabric for half of a stitch length. Then I'm going to go past the diagonal thread and come back to it, and with the working thread above the needle, I'll pull through, and that creates the cap on the top tip of the line. So back down to the base where I take half of the stitch length for the cap, and then the rest of the stitch length past the diagonal, bring the needle back to the diagonal and pull through. And on the baseline, the working thread is below the needle. So back up to the top line, scoop up a bit of the fabric for half the stitch length, then go forward past the top of the diagonal stitch, keep the working thread above the needle, bring the needle back to the end of the diagonal stitch and pull through. The thing to remember with chevron stitch is that when you're working on the baseline, your working thread is always below your needle. And when you move up to the top line, the working thread is always above the needle. So pull through, and you can see the working thread there is below the needle. Then back up to the top, where we take this little back stitch, and then go forward past the diagonal, and then back to the tip of the diagonal. The working thread is above the needle. And then we'll move down to the baseline to finish off. And when you're finished with your line, you're just going to end with one last cap. So take your needle to the back, and that is the chevron stitch. For more tips and techniques on hand embroidery, stop by and visit me at Needle and Thread.
Do you want to watch this again? Yeah. I want to watch it again because I actually getting tired, I think, and I'm just want to see it again. How can I start this again? How do we do that? Oh no. Let's go to, well, let's try and figure out what she wants us to say, because I forgot to watch the first part, so actually I'm just going back. I don't care. So we're going to watch the Chevron stitch.
The chevron stitch in hand embroidery creates a kind of zigzag line with little caps at the tip of each zigzag. So to create the chevron stitch, I'm working between two parallel lines from left to right, and I'm going to create the zigzag between those two lines. So I'm starting on the baseline, and I'm taking a full stitch length forward and coming back halfway and bringing the needle through the fabric, and you can see that the working thread was below the needle, and that creates the first cap. Now I'm taking a diagonal stitch up to the top line, and I'm taking up enough of the fabric for half of a stitch length. Then I'm going to go past the diagonal thread and come back to it, and with the working thread above the needle, I'll pull through, and that creates the cap on the top tip of the line. So back down to the base, where I take half of the stitch length for the cap, and then the rest of the stitch length past the diagonal, bring the needle back to the diagonal and pull through. And on the baseline, the working thread is below the needle. So back up to the top line, scoop up a bit of the fabric for half the stitch length, then go forward past the top of the diagonal stitch, keep the working thread above the needle, bring the needle back to the end of the diagonal stitch and pull through. The thing to remember with chevron stitch is that when you're working on the baseline, your working thread is always below your needle. And when you move up to the top line, the working thread is always above the needle. So pull through, and you can see the working thread there is below the needle. Then back up to the top, where we take this little back stitch, and then go forward past the diagonal, and then back to the tip of the diagonal. The working thread is above the needle. And then we'll move down to the baseline to finish off. And when you're finished with your line, you're just going to end with one last cap. So take your needle to the back, and that is the chevron stitch. For more tips and techniques on hand embroidery, stop by and visit me at Needle and Thread.
Okay, I'm a bit lost, but we'll be fine. Oh, there I have it again. Because of course I started to work on it. So now we're going back to transitioning. So here we are on the chevron stitch. So we're going up. We're going to do half of our cap. We're going to do the other, yeah, I guess so. This one's hard. This one is harder as the herringbone, but it's fun, but it's more difficult. Though it's pretty, but I really have to think with this one. So if you don't mind, I will not stop until I find out what I'm doing wrong, because it looks like a chevron stitch, but it isn't, I think. Or it is. Oh, it is. I do think I like the herringbone stitch more, but that's because just 2, 3. Because I feel it more than this chevron stitch yet. But we're getting there. Anyway, I know. So I just have to shut my mouth for a while and just embroider and think what I'm doing. So if I'm not responsive on chats, that's the reason why. And with this stitch is also the more even it is, the better it looks. That's one thing, what's for sure. It's pretty dope. But because it's a different stitch as what I'm used to do, like I used to do the normal stuff. I do think I just have to, this is going to be pretty. This one's a bit like sad, but this is pretty because it's even. Now it's becoming something. Real happy chica. Just do this, do that. Just okay, I begin to get the hang of it. I begin to understand. Doing a last gap. Just doing 3. Well, 2 stitches. Then I have to do the last gap. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that's where the journey ends for this thread. So So where's the other thread I knitted? Well, probably will need another thread, so I have no clue. I don't need it for other projects because there I'm using DMC Not this one. It's going to be pretty, isn't it? So I took 3. So now I have to take 3 as well. 3. And there, my camera went again, of course. But I'm doing a thread anyway, so it's not very interesting. Oh god, come on. Well, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use that. Now we have to make them tighter. So here we have another thread for this chevron stitch I took 3 strands of DMC or mats, whatever I'm using. I do miss viewers. I do think it's very fun to talk with people in chat. But hey, my streams are watched pretty much, so I'm not going to complain about anything at the moment. I'll just go here. We're going to get through this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I get the hang of it. 1, 2, 3. Finally, I understand this one. The worst thing is if you don't understand the stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you still have to do it. And you can't explain what's going on. So now I have to get it through, because otherwise, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, thank you, new follower, thank you so much. Thank you for enjoying my channel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm really happy now. One, 2. So I hope you will embroider with me along someday, sometime. Maybe you're going to check out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I did something wrong here. I did. Stupid me. Sunshine the puppy. Lovely name. Makes you happy. So welcome on my channel. Do you embroider yourself as well, or do you do any other crafts which are interesting to share? You don't have to, but would be nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half the cap. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And remember, at 50. Oh, nice. Nice. Are you good in it, or are you just like me, having it as a great way to escape from life and men and other problems in life? Well, maybe you prefer women, so you want to escape everything? I'm not sure how long you're following, but I will explain what we're making. We're making a satchel my mom made when she was in school, when she was about 14. And we're going to make a replica of this one. If you want to embroider along, all the supplies are named in my info page. I'm Dutch, sometimes I'm looking for words in English. Don't worry, I will find them in the end, but it will sometimes take a while. I have some weird sense of humor. I'm trying not to take myself down, and I just love to embroider and to make stuff, especially stuff. And I'm stitching for about 26 years now, mainly cross stitching, and since 2 years I'm sewing as well. And now I decided to do a thingy on Twitch, and I have to take off my bracelet because it's irritating, because it's very heavy on my wrist at the moment. So I decided to make a replica of my mom's satchel because to honor her, and to just to learn some new stitches, because I was kind of bored by doing cross stitches. On this channel I'm doing stitching, cross stitching, this kind of stitching, probably going to sew a bit, and doing I love to work on my silhouette studio, so I'm going to do stuff with that as well. So I hope you like it. Please keep following me, and when I reach the 50 followers, I will give away a Etsy voucher of $10, so or 10 euros, whatever, whatever I may like at the moment. Just stitch along with me. Do you only do cross stitching, or do you also do other stitches? So if you have any friends who are stitching as well, just pull them to my channel and let them follow me, so I can give away an Etsy voucher as soon as possible. I must admit that doing this and knowing that it's even, I know that I don't have to count. And that's very, very awesome. I'm now doing a chevron stitch, and in the brown thread it's a herringbone stitch. And if I'm not too tired, or if I still have like, well, let's do another one, we're going to do the double herringbone. But I'm still not at the end, and I'm not sure. I just want to do a simple cross stitch in between to make a diversion in between the stitches. So that's a creative process that will come, as you know. Three in between. 1, 2. Yeah. So tell me more about your stitches, the things you're stitching. Sunshine the puppy. I just think it's a cute name, so don't mind me. One, two, three, 4, 5. So now we're on almost 3/4 of the fabric. For if you're new here, I'm just going to tell you what's going on this sheet of Aida. On top is a back stitch. This is a cross stitch from left to right. The pink is a half cross stitch from right to left. The purple one is a full cross stitch. The brown line is a herringbone, and the line underneath there's a chevron stitch. I have to say I never have done any of these stitches besides the half cross stitch and the cross stitch and the back stitch. So for me it's a journey as well, as it will be for you. Thank you for following. Thank you, Koreana Lana 90. Thank you for following. Welcome to the community. I'm very happy that you're here. So please enjoy yourself. If you have any questions on what we're doing right now, just ask. And it will be a pleasure for me to tell you what we're doing. Just doing it. So, almost there. Well, from my feeling we're almost there, but I do think we're going to need another piece of thread to use on the... No, not me neither. It's just for me. It's for me a new journey. I want to discover, because I was found on the internet. I found on YouTube the videos from Bernadette Banner, and she's a 26-year-old woman from New York, and she's into she's into the Victorian age, and she does almost anything by hand sewing. And I'm very happy now to discover actually ways to make my clothing a little bit more funkier, with old stitches, which are very pretty and very regal and yeah, just pretty. Let me say that. And most of all, they're very easy to stitch, but sometimes you're very scared. Well, not scared is not the right word, but you mostly get a panic attack by thinking, oh my god, I have to do something else other than a cross stitch. So that's why I'm doing this journey. We're making a replica of my mom's embroidery satchel, which she made when she was in school. So we're not going to do a whole replica of it, but I'm just going to do everything by hand. So I'm going to embroider it by hand. I'm going to wash it by hand because it's embroidery. Then I'm going to line it by hand. I'm going to do pockets in it by hand, and making a zipper in it by hand, and closing it up by hand. So it's going to be a journey. But stay with me, and I would like to see some of your own projects as well. So keep me in a loop if you want to. Are these good memories or bad memories? Because when you say school sewing club, it's more like, oh no, not again. And that's what I don't want to achieve here. Good memories is good. Well, welcome back to your school sewing club. This is fun. We're doing this on a Monday night and on a Saturday night. And because of COVID, we cannot do anything anyway. We probably have seen everything on Netflix and Amazon Prime. And well, it's time to do something with your hands and with your minds to ease things up. So it's a perfect moment to enjoy slow stitching, I guess. So welcome and thank you to the community. So are you stitching for a long time, or don't you have any experience with hand sewing yet? And now have to close this one up. So I'm going underneath and why is that doing? I don't want to do that, but that's fine. If you want to do there, go there, go there. Yeah. Yeah, normally I do that the same way. But I figured out what's going to happen when there is an apocalypse or something else, or we're out of energy or anything stupid. So it's always good to have that. Good to have some kind of a stitching experience to get things done in the end. Yeah, we always have to hand stitch sometimes, especially when we want to make ruffles or make smock or whatever it takes to. Then you have to baste, of course, like I did at the. So feel free to embroider now. On the front page, there's a list of things needed with this type of project. And all videos regarding this project are dumped on are placed on YouTube as well, so you can so you can see it on Twitch, and you can see it on YouTube. So you will be fine. You will be fine. Really, really nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. It's really appreciated. Not only appreciated, it's just fun. I just love to embroider. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. So please feel free to stitch along. I'm not sure how many stitches we're going to do about from the 171 stitches who are existing. So it depends on how much space there is on this Aida. Just see, because I have to go back and go back here. Yeah, well, I'm not sure whether you're going to learn something from me, but I definitely am learning tonight, because I've never done this kind of stitches. I always did cross stitches, because I actually was too lazy to figure out something else, or just too scared to begin on another kind of stitches. Because it frightened me, because you don't know whether it's difficult or not, or if you can do it or not. It's always like that kind of fear, like, no, I'm not going to do that. But in the end, everything will be fine. Always. But welcome. I'm really think it's lovely that you're here. Where are you from, by the way, before I forget to ask? I will ask that later when you're on again, but for now I just want to know where you're from. You're from Romania, but you have very nice embroidery work from in Romania, right? I mean, there's a lot of traditional work going on there, which is very, very lovely. Or don't you do that? Yes, that's what I was thinking. Like, oh, there's a lot of beautiful traditional Romanian embroidery, especially on clothing, I guess. Especially on the old, on the clothing nobody wants to wear ever again. Clothes, but then again, you want to wear it because it's your tradition. Yeah, well, that's very important, and that's why I'm also doing this, because I don't want to. I do think it's very important that the craft of embroidery and hand sewing is staying alive, because everybody does everything by machine, or doing just staring at screens the whole day. So for that's very important that this kind of work still well, it just has to be passed on to every generation, because otherwise it will go and never come back. And that's the trouble with techniques sometimes. I mean, I would love to have an embroidery machine, but I do want to know how to do it by hand as well. Because if you have to fix something, and it's easier fixed by hand than by machine, then you better using hand and thread and needle. So that's also a reason for me to start this channel. And I was just bored by sitting home for COVID measurements. So I decided to do this online, to have a kind of a how you call it in English, then you just have to do it, then you just can't say no, then you have to go along with the adventure and not stop, because otherwise you just stop and you just go like, oh well, it doesn't matter if I'm going to do it or not. It will be in the cupboard for about a year or 2 or 3, who cares? And in the end you're like, oh wow, have I done that? Why haven't I done this earlier? Like I have with a few projects of mine. Why didn't I finish that? Well, that's why. I'm also busy on embroidering a teacup, and that I'm doing that just by cross stitching, but I just do that on stream as well sometimes, just to show progress and to well, just have fun and talk to people while embroidering, because that's also very important, that you sometimes talk to someone. So as you see in my statement, there are 171 stitches available to work with. I'm not going to do all 171. That's way too much, but I'm going to do quite a few. So I do hope you want to stitch along with me, because I think that's fun to see what other people are making of the same stitches and what their opinion is about the stitches, because I was really happy with the herringbone stitch, and I'm less pleased with the chevron stitch, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's not that appealing to me or something like that. I'm just not sure why I feel this way, but it's a very nice way to discover which stitches are really you, with what kind of stitches you really don't, you wouldn't mind to lay apart. So now we're on the end of the road, and actually we have finished this line. So cut this thread off. I'm just going to lay it on the pile of empty thread, or that needs to be. I'm not going to show you the chevron stitch. Yeah, that's a really nice one. I also showed the stitches. I will show you the explanation of the chevron stitch.
Stitch The chevron stitch in hand embroidery creates a kind of zigzag line with little caps at the tip of each zigzag. So to create the chevron stitch, I'm working between two parallel lines from left to right, and I'm going to create the zigzag between those two lines. So I'm starting on the base line, and I'm taking a full stitch length forward and coming back halfway and bringing the needle through the fabric, and you can see that the working thread was below the needle, and that creates the first cap. Now I'm taking a diagonal stitch up to the top line, and I'm taking up enough of the fabric for half of a stitch length. Then I'm going to go past the diagonal thread and come back to it, and with the working thread above the needle, I'll pull through, and that creates the cap on the top tip of the line. So back down to the base where I take half of the stitch length for the cap, and then the rest of the stitch length past the diagonal, bring the needle back to the diagonal and pull through. And on the baseline, the working thread is below the needle. So back up to the top line, scoop up a bit of the fabric for half the stitch length, then go forward past the top of the diagonal stitch, keep the working thread above the needle, bring the needle back to the end of the diagonal stitch and pull through. The thing to remember with chevron stitch is that when you're working on the baseline, your working thread is always below your needle. And when you move up to the top line, the working thread is always above the needle. So pull through, and you can see the working thread there is below the needle. Then back up to the top, where we take this little back stitch, and then go forward past the diagonal, and then back to the tip of the diagonal. The working thread is above the needle. And then we'll move down to the baseline to finish off. And when you're finished with your line, you're just going to end with one last cap. So take your needle to the back, and that is the chevron stitch. For more tips and techniques on hand embroidery, stop by and visit me at Needle and Thread.
So that was Miss Mary Corbett, who I'm using as a reference for all of the stitches. Hi, this is me. I'm using also Pentacle.com, which is an Australian website who is actually doing a stitch every week on Tuesday or Thursday, and I'm just using both of those websites as a reference to do all of the stitches. If you want to follow me on Facebook or Twitter or here on Twitch, there you will find my handles where to find me. I'm just going to show you what was working on this afternoon. Then I go back to this one. I have to click on transition because otherwise nobody will see it. I'm working on a teacup, and as you can see, there's some shading, there are some sugar cubes with ice, and there is a milk can with ice and roses, and I just have to finish this little piece off, and then I can frame it. And I have put this one away for a couple of years because I did I was like not in the mood to embroider. Just bear with me. It's coming back. No, it's not coming back. Just bear with me. Yeah, here I am again. So here's the mail can. And here are... But if you look closely, you'll see the fabric is a bit teared because I made an error and I had to get all the thread out. So that's what I'm working on as well. So I'm not sure, shall we do another stitch, or do you think, well, maybe you can just continue with the with the other one? I just want to do this, sorry. I didn't see that coming, so I just had to do that again. And this one was also a new follower. Yes, I know. So what do you think so far? Well, this is the front. So it looks very royal. It looks very very intense if you look at the just normal plain embroidery we do day to day. And if you look at the back, you'll see I cut all the little threads off to make it as decent as possible, because I like that. So on Saturday, I'm not sure. I'm probably going to. I'm not. What time is it in your country now? Right now, Corina. Because normally I stream. Normally I stream from 8 to 1 or 9 to 1, but I can also be online in the afternoon. I'm not going to do whatever body pleases, but if you say, well, I have more time in the afternoon than I have at night, then I might just decide to go and stream in the afternoon. But on Saturday we're going to do another set of two new, for me, new stitches. I'm not sure to do. Maybe it's a blanket stitch, maybe it's another stitch, maybe we're going to do something else, maybe we're going to do a silhouette studio embroidery thingy, whatever. I'm not sure about that. So just put on the notification, so you will be notified when I will be online with my next tutorial for these kind of stitches. I just see I have made one error, but hey, it's handmade and it's probably going to be sewn in anyway, so it's not going to be seen. But now you know it. Thank you for watching. If you have not followed me yet, just hit the follow button and just follow me in my journey to get to know new stitches. Like I said, I think it's very important that the craft won't die. So that's why I have this channel. Follow me, follow my Facebook page, and I will see you on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it because the community is growing. Wow, Thank you for following. Thank you. Just hit this button, baby. Yes. Hey there. Thank you. No worries. I'm very delightful to share all of my knowledge and my journey. And we'll see you on Saturday. And I'm really looking forward to it. Well, bye for now. Have a great night. Have a good rest and sleep. And I will see you on Saturday. Bye.